my manager, we were always going to meet with record labels and doing showcases and stuff like that for me personally. But my first major cut was way back on Montgomery Gentry's first album, a song called "If a Broken Heart Could Kill."
Okay.
And just by chance that my co-writer was from the same town in Kentucky that John Michael Montgomery and Eddie were from. So he knew them because, back when he was singing, he knew them. So we had a contact there, and I didn't know at the time who Eddie and Troy were. They had just signed a record deal. I had never heard of them. I don't even know that I really even knew that John had a brother at that time, because John was doing so well. So they had worked the song up in their bedroom and then sent us back down a little recording of it, and kind of the rest is history. I went on and signed a record deal, and then signed a publishing deal. And when I signed that publishing deal, we started having a lot of success. It wasn't just me, but there was a couple other writers there, and our little company just really took off. I mean, I think in a year's time we had like 6 number ones or something, which was, really unheard of for an upstart company like that.
For a newcomer, sure, absolutely, and it does point out the importance of making connections, making contacts, meeting people, and favorably impressing the people you do meet, because you never know where your next break is going to come from, and that's a great example of it, because you have to start somewhere, and if you get somebody that says, "Hey, that's pretty good. I like what you did there. Let me give it a try." Hey, you got yourself something going. Now, you got a song featured in a Budweiser commercial too, didn't you?
Well, it actually was the barbecue stand song was the one that with Tim in it. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I knew there was a beer commercial involved in there somewhere, but yeah, that was a classic song. That's one that I think that's going to be kicking around for a long time. John Bon Jovi, you're sitting there entirely too quiet. I know you must have something on your mind.
Well, I'm just enjoying the conversation. And Rick, first of all, thank you so much for being with us today. It is great to have you on the show. The questions that I usually ask our guests border more on the technical side, but also, the mindset. And so I guess my first question to you in the short time that we have here is, what kind of thought process goes into your songs? What kind of routine do you have when you try to put together a song, whether it's for yourself or for a Travis Tritt?
I kind of have two different mindsets with that. As you guys are aware of, Nashville is a co-writing town. So that you make a lot of your connections and your circle of friends through getting together to songwrite with each other, and of course you always try to write with the best people that you can to give your song the best shot, and to hopefully get it recorded. But sometimes that's a different approach than I take if I'm sitting alone, on my boat, where you feel like you're more channeling the song in from someplace else versus crafting a song more mechanically. Do you find that a better way than the other?
Do you find that the boat is more of a muse for you than it would be if you were sitting around in your office or your studio?
I think I don't know if I might have written every song you could possibly write about a boat by now. I don't know if there's any left, but definitely. I got to quit writing these boat songs. But I love to fish. I grew up fishing and still an avid fisherman, and I love being around the water. So, yes, I probably don't even know how much it is actually influencing me, all the time.
Well, that brings up an interesting question, or at least interesting in my mind. Sometimes my whole world is in my mind, but no, seriously, how do you find the balance between creatively sitting down, intent on writing a song, versus having them just pop into your head?
Well, usually what happens well, I can only speak for myself on this, but usually they'll pop into my head. Because, and everybody said, well, tell me the story around that song, or how'd you get that? A lot of times there is no story. A lot of times you create the story once the idea comes into your head.
Right.
Now, because, there'd have to be 10 days in a week for me to live enough of a life for the amount of songs I've written. It just wouldn't be possible for me to live out every song. But so I put myself in other people's shoes. I think that's something I've always been able to do since I started writing songs when I was a kid. I felt like I could put myself in somebody else's shoes pretty well, and then write what they, maybe were going through, or just create the story like a fiction writer would.
Right. It goes back to life moments, as we were talking about before. But I know I myself have always been curious. Do you feel you get more moved by thoughts that just pop into your head, or do you feel that you feel stronger when you sit down and intent on writing a song?
I think when the song just chooses you, like you said, pops into your head, that's when it's the inspiration. You start writing from inspiration, and I think that's why I chose. Any writer chooses to do this to begin with. It's that feeling of that inspiredness that makes you pursue it.
Well, in talking about your writing, we haven't touched too much on your actual singing career, and we're starting to run down a little bit on time here. So before we completely run out, I want to touch on your singing career, your newer music, and of course the track we're going to play in just a couple of minutes. No Easy Way. Tell us a little bit about the singing side of your career.
Well, I don't know if I haven't been on every record label in Nashville. It would only be because some new ones have popped up recently. So yeah, it's been quite a journey on that end. These days, I kind of pick and choose what I want to do. I pick and choose. I'm able to pick and choose the shows I do, and I put on a music festival back in my hometown called Dreamland Music Festival. That's been, I guess, I started it about 5 years ago. And so I'll go and do like songwriters festivals, and then I'll spend the rest of the time, doing traveling and doing shows. And then once I get a group of songs together, I'll usually go in and record.
There you go. That'll work. And we are just about out of time, so I do want to take this moment to thank you for being here with us, and remind everybody really quickly where they can find you online.
Oh, you can find me at just if you put in Rick Ferrell Music and start searching, you can pretty much find it on anything, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, rickferrellmusic.com. I don't know if MySpace still exists, but if it does, it's probably on there.
Yeah, I think it's there. Every now and then I'll get a note from there. But again, thank you so much for being here on the show with us, Rick. Keep in touch with us.
Pleasure,
we like
guys.
to know what our guests are doing, and we like to be able to follow you. And we always look forward to having you come back again. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Ferrell, and here is No Easy Way.
I know you tried. So kind when you were leaving me. I know you tried to let me down easy, but there's no easy way to let me down. Just like the rain up in those clouds, stop my tears from falling to the ground. And I know you tried to let me down easy, but girl, there's no easy way to let me down.
No Easy Way. Rick Ferrell, right here on the David Bowers Awards. Thank you so much, Rick. Thank you to both of our guests this week, Rick Ferrell, whom you just heard, and the lovely Loretta Hagen before that. What a great sound, great weekend, great show. Thank you so much for dialing in. We'll look forward for having you back here again next week when we go a little bit country and a little bit bluegrass. Meanwhile, John Bon Jovial,
yes,
take us home.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again so much for spending an hour with us today right here on the David Bowers Awards. We are more grateful for it than you could ever possibly know. The David Bowers Awards is broadcast around the world from the studios of Computer Help USA in Naples, Florida, and also from the Valley of the Sun in Tempe, Arizona, and we are available for free on Blog Talk Radio, also on YouTube, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, Amazon Alexa devices, and all the other platforms where you might find your podcasts. Click the follow link on our Blog Talk Radio page and like The David Bowers on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook to keep up with the show and all the information and news going on in the wild, wacky, and wonderful world of indie music. Join us next week for the David Bowers Awards, Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern on WRFZ FM 106.3 Rochester Free Radio, and on Blog Talk Radio Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and 6 p.m. UTC for more great indie music and talk with the artists that make it happen. So until next week for the David Bowers Awards and the newly married Nick the Geek, I am yours truly, the legendary John Bon Jovial, thanking you once again for being with us, and we'll see you next week right here on the David Bowers Awards.